wasn't crazy. Like everything was what I expected, to be honest. I'm just glad they finally did the hits.
I'll say this much. I definitely was expecting a bit more. Well, I was hoping for a bit more, actually, is what I should be saying.
Hmm. Yeah.
But we'll get to that here in just a moment. Welcome
Yeah.
everyone to the Abyssphere podcast. Here I am joined once again by my boy Thahn. Thahn, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. What's up? Hey, everyone.
Man, I woke up right when the ban list hit. Actually, I think John Konami was trying to tell me something through my dreams, and I woke up and I fucking saw. And at first I thought it was fake, but then I go to the official Yu-Gi-Oh TCG page, and they're like, "Oh no, this dropped." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And much to everyone's dismay, I knew that Konami was gonna drop this ban list before like the 300 because it only made sense. It's a big event and there's no real reason why it should have waited for so long, and I get it. The ban list before Jush format took like a while, right? Like we had Jush format for a long time before we ended up getting like the hits to the Vanquish Soul deck, which literally ridiculous. We got the Herald to 1, the Obedience School to 1. So I could see why people thought that we were gonna get the ban list later, but no. I knew in my heart of hearts that Konami was gonna drop this at least before the YCS, if not 2 weeks or so before. And here, I think we are 3 weeks, just about, from YCS 300th. Now, Ton, when did you find out about the ban list being dropped?
I found out about the ban list around lunchtime, my time, I think. I was in the middle of work, and I get a bunch of pings on Discord, and it's all Yu-Gi-Oh related. Instantly, I knew had to be the ban list. I check it out, and the first thing I see is Herald being banned. I'm like, thank God.
Honestly. And so this is the reason why we haven't had a podcast, because there wasn't really much to talk about recently. No YCSs, no big events, a few regionals here and there, but nothing that changed, right? Like it was business as usual. And now we are going to go through every card in the current list one by one that has been affected. And then I guess at the end, we'll go ahead and give our individual ratings of the ban list.
Yeah, I think we should also talk about the deck we anticipate playing for the format and what we think will be the best deck, because I'm curious of your thoughts on that.
Oh, okay. This, I think I already have like the answer, but we'll wait for that here in just a moment.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
All right. So, number one, we have Barrier Statue of the Torrent. I don't think we have to talk about this one too much. This card should have been banned along with the other statues when it was like when they had that big list where they hit all the floodgates.
I agree. I had called for this ban a long time ago when Mermail was kind of prevalent. It's around YCS Houston when Memento won. I hated playing against Mermail because of that barrier statue. That card was obnoxious.
I truly don't know why they thought it was healthy to leave it like alive, because me and you spoke about this back during April last year, and right around after the YCS, where we were just like, dude, if they hit Mulan Glacia, or even if they just hit the Barrier Statue and maybe like Bahamut Shark, like, that would be great. Or I'm sorry, this would be before the YCS, because we got the ban list on that day, now that I think about it. And they hit the Shark, which means they don't have easy access to Toad, and that was fine and dandy. But that was about it. And Abyss Dweller, I guess. But like Dweller also affected that deck, so I guess like low-key it had to get hit no matter what. But
Yeah.
And then you saw, right, like after they hit the Earth statue, which was easily accessible through the Gallon Granite, they just ended up making Dragluxion using 7 Tachyon, revealing 103, and then accessing the torrent that way. And I was like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, it was incredibly stupid. Mitsuru get access to that card of all things.
It was truly crazy in my opinion. I just don't know what they were thinking.
I agree. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I'm glad they hit it finally out of the way. Is that the final barrier statue?
That is the final barrier statue.
Finally, those cards are disgusting, and any player who plays them is just a bum.
For real. Now I'm going to go down the ban list really quick, and because I think the other two have more to discuss over. Harpy's Featherstorm, I think it's about time, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, a Radiant Typhoon was going to be good regardless of whether or not this card was legal. And I think that removing cards that tell your opponent don't play the game should have been prioritized, but we got it now at least, so I'll take
Yeah,
it.
I agree with that. I am more glad than anything. This is a flu hit. Right? I don't really care about Radiant Typhoon. I'm glad this cripples flu so much.
Yeah, I think this was the last thing that they have at their disposal aside from the one shifter, which I still think that card could have gotten banned. But you know, um, that can be saved for another conversation. For now,
Mhm.
Harpy's Featherstorm, good riddance. We will never see you again.
Yep.
You know, unless they stop printing Wind Wing Beast and ban every other one, which I don't see that ever happening. Now, Herald of the
Yeah.
Arclight. I mean, we wanted this. We spoke about this in our last podcast, and this was the best bridge from Yummy to Mitsurugi, and it was also one of the best end board pieces that they had, because not only is it like a pseudo macrocosmos, but it also is an Omni Negate, and this is an Omni Negate that is, yes, very, very fragile, right? You know, 1,000 attack points, 600, defense points, 600 attack points that you could easily run over. But like at the same time, all the cards that Mitsurugi played did not allow you to knock it out at all. So this also improves the matchup for Dracotel into the Yummy, because this was like the only thing holding it back. Which, you know, you could say that's like a fake barrier, because Molchummies versus the, you know, Yummy half board, you're probably winning, but like this did make it a little tough.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think banning Herald does a really good thing for deck building for other decks. An example I want to think of is like I've been playing a lot of Memento lately, and that deck folds to a Herald. Like I just can't out a Herald. If they make Herald, I lose. So I need to see a non-engine out to see it. And now with it being banned, my non-engine is more flexible. I don't have to play weird non-engine to beat a Herald, which I always thought was a really annoying aspect of deck building. So I'm really glad to see it go. I am sad about the bridge. I did love Voiceless. You can't play the Nadir Servant engine anymore, but you know, I think the bridge to Mitsu is just way too annoying and really unfair at times.
I agree. And you know, when a card like this is easily able to be slapped on the field, and especially recycled with the Samsara Cat, you're gonna have to hit the problem, and I think they did that for the Yummy deck. And it kind of does suck a little bit, because now they don't have like the best way to threaten a nib, because now like if you're playing Yummy, your opponent can just hold onto the nib until you're done at the combo, and then boom, just slap it, because you have no way to just beat it at this point. So Yummy does take an unfortunate hit, but I think Konami wants people to move away from Yummy and play other stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. They really crippled Yummy this list, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I think Yummy got shot in the back of the head here.
Yeah. Before we get to that, of course, we do have to talk about the final ban here, and that is Malice White Binder. You already know how I feel about Malice. I'm not going to drag it out, but I do think that this deck should have still gotten hit harder. And the reason I say that is because, again, the Malice endboard and the Malice follow-up is just really hard to fight through, for me. I've had the same experience both in Master Duel and in the TCG. Board breakers are ineffective, and even if you do break their board, they have March Hare into White Binder, which sets everything back up again. And for me, that's the reason why I wanted Malice to just get hit on the chopping block. Because Malice pre-Alliance Insight, even though the A-Bow plus the Griffin lock was you know, lame to deal with, without it, I feel like the deck was, you know, relatively okay to play against. I didn't have the biggest issue. But March Hare just changed so much, man. And I think that's when things started going downhill, aside from the adding Nestor support as well.
I agree with a lot of your points there. I think now if people want to keep playing Malice, it's a lot more skillful in terms of resource management now because you don't have the white binder to reset your traps. So a lot of times the only way you can recycle your traps now is to banish them and like cryptor them back, which is like a three-step process because you didn't have to use White Rabbit to reset. It's a lot. So their grind game, their resource management has to be on point in order for the deck to continue to be good. I I understand the white binder ban. I still don't like it compared to Red Ransom because now if you play against a Malice player, they're just gonna go balls to the wall, combo as heavy as possible. So you still deal with the annoying aspect of like just a fat board you're looking at. It still has a very good like game one going first board. So I still find that really annoying about the deck. But I think most people are gonna drop it now because white binder is like that crutch card for them. It's like it's their safety net, and they're not gonna know how to play without it now.
That is true. I disagree a little bit though on the Red Ransom hit because I think Red Ransom is a good card to hit in tandem with other ones. So like if they hit Red Ransom and March Hare or Red Ransom and Backup and or even Red Ransom and Allied Code Talker. But like Red Ransom, it nets you like 2 cards, right? It nets you like the Spell Surge plus the Vanish, which gets you another body sometimes. But White Binder gets you access to the second trap or to reuse the trap that you just used. It banishes cards from your opponent's graveyard, but also on turn 2, you banish cards from your graveyard, which ends up setting up a field that your opponent is likely not going to wipe, and then you just hit them back with the clapback. And I think White Binder is a lot more significant because of that reason. And I will say, if you look on the Discord, this is what someone did still with Malice, just a dormouse apparently, which is a little crazy. But then again, this is like, maximum 2 interruptions, maybe, Firewall Bounce plus like Alley Code Talker and whatever they have in hand. But this is also a 1-card combo still.
Yeah, this is about maybe 2 to 3 interruptions. I'm sure they have a crypto setup. Okay, so this is for anyone who doesn't have a visual. The board is still the Ally Code Talker, a Firewall with 1 bounce, 2 bounce,
just one.
And then GWC set, just 1 bounce.
Right.
So it's about 2 to 3 interruptions. You don't see the grave, so you can maybe assume a cryptor's in the grave. And this is kind of the example I was talking about, in which case, like, because Red Ransom is still legal, you have the ability to like extend with the field spell, and you just make bigger boards. You just heavier commit to the gimmick, and that's the one thing I didn't like about this deck. I would have much rather preferred like let them make binder, let them make cryptor, and then just pass. I don't want them making a bigger board than what they should. If they want to grind because they can reset the traps, I feel like that's a much more fair and interactive game state than like looking down at a huge board. Now, granted, this board is actually not super impressive right now, in my opinion. It's just a bounce into the gate. But we'll have to see. Cyber, spam, slop makes fat boards for a reason.
That's kind of where I wanted to like shift this conversation to. That's kind of why I wanted to see more Malice cards getting hit, like maybe March Hare specifically. And that is only because I can only foresee more Cybers monsters getting added and then just forcing Malice to become Cyber Slop. And maybe that's not the fault of Malice, but like Malice plays very well into getting Cyber Slocked. So, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I think people are still going to play the deck and are going to find some success at the regional level. But the only reason why I say this is just because I want to be able to completely cut Lancia out of my side deck. And for the time being, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. But at the end of the day, I am pretty happy overall with the banned cards. So I think we can, unless you have anything else to add, move towards the limited section.
No, I think we're good to move to the limited section. I agree with most of the points. It was just about time.
Alright, so the limited section, we're going to go based on archetype now, and we'll start with the archetype that is... Actually, no, I'm gonna save the Dracotel ones for last. I want to start with the middle one, Snatchy. Snatchy got limited in this ban list here. How do you feel about that?
I really feel like they took Yummy and shot it in the back of the head, because I feel like you've killed the deck's grind a little bit. You know, I get you can shuffle it back with field spells. I just feel like they really neutered the end board. You don't get Herald, so I'm not sure what synchros you can make now. And I think a lot of their end board being really strong was because of multiple snatchies, right? If they just had one snatchy and you impermed it, it was fine. But when they had two, that's when the game became trickier and you had to play into their board a whole lot more. And while I think that is annoying, I think that was a very fun game to play into it. So I think they really hurt Yummy a lot with this hit. I don't think it's unplayable. I just think it's a lot harder now.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so look, if you wanted to play pure still, you can. You just have to sub it in for like Link Karibo, because Link Karibo is two Link ones, right? You get the one when you Link summon it, the second one when you tribute a level 1 monster, and so Lollipop shenanigans can still like occur and work, but like, let's be real, the fact that you were able to have multiple snatchies before allowed you to just, you know, have really good layered interruptions. Like if one snatchy is gone, you always had the other one to still synchro with, and that's not available at this point, right? So if like, you know, you negate the one snatchy, as you said, you don't have the other one to fall back on. Your bounce plays with the surprise are also significantly weaker, and I don't know. I think if you're gonna have to play, if you want to play Yummy rather, you're going to have to play other engines with it to make it effective. Which in the future, I can only see it being the Tri-Brigade version.
I actually don't have any knowledge on that deck, but I don't think Pier's the way to go anymore. It's crazy for. I'm not sure what the Yummy end board would look like, but is some variation of Snatchy and Surprise, and maybe a random Synchro. If they imperm your Snatchy, that's like half your interruptions are gone, in my opinion. Right? Because Snatchy led you to the Synchros, which are then tagged out into Cookie or Lollipop. But imperming the Snatchy just kills all that. So now, how do you get it in the grave so you could like reborn it, right? So I'm not seeing the vision with the deck. So I think Pierre just took such a large hit for, unfairly in my opinion, a very large hit.
I agree. I think for the time being, we'll see what people end up cooking with the deck, but truly the only thing that you can play with the deck in the near future is the Tri-Brigade version of Yummy, because you can still work with the one Snatchy, and if you banish it, or if it gets banished, I would say, like, let's say with a Bistio or a DD Crow, and you have Revolt, you get access to it again, so it's not the end of the world.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe they're just trying to force inspiration here.
Yeah. It's seen a bit of success in this Iron Man match that I've been watching from DB Grinder, but I also couldn't tell you if it's actually good, or, you know, only time will tell, and we'll see if the one Link one truly affects it as much as we're going to see here in the near future, or at least as much as we speculate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, we're gonna move on to the Habakiri hit. I guess I'll begin with why did they do me dirty? But at the end of the day, I guess they want to limit the amount of like names that you're able to see, and less copies of Habakiri does hurt the consistency a lot. Because let's be real, Mitsurugi is not the most consistent deck in the world, and personally, I would have preferred if, like, instead we just saw Prayers to 2 and like a banning of pre-prep, but I also know that that is like bias, and so I think Habakiri to 1 does make a lot of sense. But the deck could still allow you to make Zombie Vampire and Bridge if you want. So I don't know if like that was the most correct way to hit it, because especially once you see the Habakiri, like, now your plays are active. The only thing I see this really harming is the amount of monsters that you can search, because your grind game is a little worse with, like, you know, 2 less names. But I almost don't see that as like the biggest problem if you smash the engines with another one.
I get what you're saying. I probably agree with most of it. I would disagree with the pre-prep hit or like the other hits you mentioned. I think hitting Habakiri is probably the right play. because if you were trying to if you wanted to splash Mitsurugi cards, it's really just 3 Haba and then the rest of the whatevs. Right, but now if you want to splash it, you have to play proof rep and a brick. So you're forcing players who want to keep bridging or keep splashing to play more bricks, and that's just like, I think that's a really good trade-off. You get more power in your deck, but you have to play more bricks to compensate for that. And I like the kind of deck building balance that the hitting of Habakiri does for that. So I'm kind of okay with the Habakiri hit.
I mean, the only issue I see with it is just that it makes it weaker to droll. But that's something that we just are going to have to deal with for the near future, sadly.
Yeah. I'm definitely not sure what to do about the consistency though, because with Herald Ban, you can't even throw in a Deer Servant to like search a ritual anymore. So I think the deck is just gonna be feeling really rough on consistency for a bit.
I think it's the same way with Yummy. You know pure is not the way to go. Is essentially what's the end result of this.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I did think that they were going to let it be free because of the structure deck that's coming out, but I can at least say good shit on Konami for actually deciding to hit the problem directly instead of waiting and seeing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm liking the approach they've been taking.
Next up, we have Joe Cool and a case for K9. Both of these cards going to 1. And we spoke about this before. I think these are pretty good hits because, as you know, mentioned, Joe Cool plus a level 5 is really hard to respond to, and the case for K9 just drops the consistency a bit of the pure version or any other variants to where you're less likely to see Ripper before like they continue their plays. But as we all know, that is not a effective guarantee.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that. I like the hits. I like the Joko hit a lot. Super hard to interact with, like you said. And it feels the niche of being just a power 1-up now, and I'm okay with that. The case for K9 is a bit weird to me, but I guess it makes sense if you just want to hit consistency. So I don't really care for the card.
I mean, it's kind of like a weird hit because here's the thing: you could just replace 3 of these 4 cards that you're missing for 3 copies of Chaotic Elements. And the cool thing about Chaotic Elements is that you get to add back from the graveyard as well. So if Jokul is available there and you have the Chaotic Elements, if let's say you summon it off of Noroi to search and then you Chaotic Elements to add it back to your hand, now you have another 2 level 5s. So it feels a little weird to, you know, say that this is going to properly hit the engines, you know, that play this deck, or even the pure version, but only time can tell. At the very least can say pure probably dies as a viable option, and you have to play it with Crystron, Cyber Dragons maybe, or you know, Vanquish Soul for it to feel effective.
I'd probably agree. Vanquish Soul might be the best version of the deck, and especially with Chaotic Elements, I think the card's really slept on. Has a good graveyard effect, or maybe not graveyard. Has a good secondary effect. The add back, like you mentioned, or the Snatch Steal too, which I don't imagine comes up very much, but now I'm sure there's a better chance it could.
Alongside that, we do have the Holly Suit hit, and I guess this we have to like kind of spoil it with the other ones, although it has been what 12 hours since the ban list got announced, so I guess we can do that. Holly Sue got hit to 1, but in exchange, Vanquish Soul received back both of its copies of Stake Your Soul and both of its copies of Raisin. How do you feel about this?
I think that's great. Honestly, the Vanquish Soul cards were like never the problem. It was the K9 stuff that was the problem that made the deck too strong. Vanquish Soul as a pure deck, I think, is really fair and interactive. So I think it's like a perfect Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You know, nothing's too annoying about it. You know, there's no floodgate. It's just solid gaming.
I agree. And the fact that Raisin and Stake Your Soul are back also means that you can now play less copies of Noroi again. Like how we
Yes.
initially were thinking of it. We also still have Izuna to 3, Lupus is available, and Ripper is available. So, um, while I am a little upset that Holly Sue got hit to 1 because it reduces the chances of you playing with your Vanquish Soul cards turn 0, uh, at least they kept the deck alive, and Holly Sue is still super accessible. And because Izuna is available, you don't lose your methods of playing on turn 0 if you truly need to. Um, I guess the only other thing that I can add to this is um, we're going to see Canine Vanquish Soul increase in popularity and more than likely success as well. And I think that's going to be necessary because Dracotel just ends up becoming much more powerful in post Burst Protocol. And that leads us to the Dracotel hits, the only ones here, I believe, which is Malulu to 1 and Ketu to 1.
Yeah.
I think that the deck actually kind of got a slap on the wrist. I do think that these, well, not the Malulu, I do think the Ketu is an effective hit, but the Ketu and Malulu combination only hits the pure version of the deck. And if you have kept up at all with Burst Protocol content or discussions whatsoever, you know that the most viable version of Dracotel is not even the pure version going forward. It is the branded version with the Magicis stuff.
I didn't know that. I actually have not been keeping the OCG. I kind of worry about cards when they come out. But I do agree with you that they're just kind of slap on the wrist. The Malulu hit is something I don't think matters all that much. Ketu, sure, it does suck because you don't have it for the follow-up or for your turn 2, whatever. But honestly, the weird thing about Dracotel is like once you see one engine card, you see all of them. So the deck is probably going to feel just as good as it did before.
I would say it's gonna feel better. The
Yeah.
Malulu hit again only really matters when you're playing pure, because you want to have like multiple ways to fuse and access your engine, right? But with the Albas support that's coming out with the Fallen of the White and with the Ecclesia and the Black Dragon, both of these cards enable you to have a really strong grind game. And all this really does for Dracotel is push it further into the combo version instead of maintaining it pure. Now, does that mean that they should have hit it harder? Well, in my opinion, yes. I think we should have also seen 5 mana to 1 here. Because the deck... Okay, so my whole point with Holly Sue was leading to this. Why is Vanquish Soul unable to play turn 0 as often as it wants? But Dracotel is able to, because Dracotel, just like Vanquish Soul, sees more success when they drop Bafua against the opponent, and then they access their engine early on so that they can immediately start playing and setting up. And Dracotel getting all this indirect support means that 5 mana is even stronger and is going to lose a lot less games going second, which should be a good thing, but the deck is also going to dominate going first. So I don't know if like you feel the same way or if you think that the 5 mana is okay to stay, but I do think that it should have gotten put to 1 as well.
I get what you're saying. I don't have any hard feelings about 5 mana being at like 3 or 1. If I had to pick, I would lean towards being at 1 because I do agree it does feel a bit unfair. Like the Holly suit gets you into Raisin, into a Search, into a Pop is strong, but 5 mana feels like it gets you so much further along if you're able to resolve it. So I'd agree with you overall that 5 mana should have been hit at least a 2 or something over Malulu in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because Malulu being hit to 1 is irrelevant for the better version. You like can play 3, but you're stacking so many engines into the deck that allow you to like get access to few, like the Magistus card with Spenta and everything. gets you access to Lucius from the deck. So that immediately bridges into your Dracotail anyways. And the Albaz support helps facilitate that further. So Malulu is kind of like, you know, a thought in the back of your mind at this point. You're just like, well, I'm gonna have this so that I can have it as an interruption, and because Arthalion exists, I'm gonna have access to Malulu no matter what. So I'm constantly recycling my ability to use that negate whenever I need it to. And also, normal summon Malulu was the kind of the best way to bait out the Herald of the Arclight. Now that Herald is gone, this card is a bit less important as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wish I would have rather seen a 5-mana hit or a Lucius hit, in my opinion. I think Malulu at 3 would have been fine. It's just my preference that Lucius gets hit instead, but I guess they just really want Dracotail to be the best deck.
And it will be, in my opinion, but we can expand on that further. Just because, oh boy, if you haven't kept up, I got something to show you. Now, here we have the semi-limits, Droll and Lockbird. This is the only semi-limit, but I think you explained it perfectly. With cards like this, with cards like Droll and Lockbird, it's either at 3 or it's at 0. There shouldn't really be any in between.
I'd agree. I think for Konami, it'll either be at 3 or it'll be at 1. They seem to like the Saki factor of Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, you have talents at 1, cross out, called by at 1. I think they want cards like Shifter and Jolt, those power 1-0s, man. They love the power 1-0s. I think Joel's gonna get hit to 1 in the next list.
And if it does, it's gonna suck really bad when you're playing your deck, whatever deck it could be, and you lose to the 1-of. That's something that I want to also be diminished further. And like, I just don't get why Droll just wasn't straight up banned. And I get everyone's point that say, like, you know, Droll shouldn't be banned because the decks that do way too much get checked by the Droll. But I think that's kind of like putting those type of situations in a vacuum and not really like expanding your point of view when almost every deck, aside from the occasional ones like Dracotail, etc., search as part of their gameplay because it increases their consistency and it allows them to actually play the game. And if you're talking about, you know, like Mix Smash, like Yummy Mitsu, like I can get your point, but also I just hate any cards that stop, you know, you from playing the game whatsoever, and then you're kind of just forced to just look at your field and be like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I agree with most of the feeling. To the point you made that that Droll stops decks from being too crazy. I think a proper ban list and better game balancing should handle that within itself. I'm liking Yu-Gi-Oh! Shifting to a state where you don't need Droll to stop your opponents, and I'm okay with that. It is gonna suck when you start getting sacked by Droll though, because now it's a 2-of, and if they draw in their 45 card deck, you just gotta be tilted.
I mean, yeah, like, and then that's the worst part. It's a 2-of, so like you just know that your opponent is gonna feel really good when they see it, and you're playing like, let's say, Radiant Typhoon, because that's what I'm going to play this upcoming format. Like, I got my Crucias, I got everything, and I really hate the fact that that like I'm gonna have to deal with this when like the deck also gave up, you know, access to Harpy's Featherstorm, but that's just on me. That's on me on picking a bad deck that plays into Droll.
Yeah, no, I get it. I play bad decks all the time, and it is what it is. I like the Droll hit, but at the same time, I really don't like it. I just don't like it at 2. It just feels weird. It feels like they're testing the water, and they should have just committed.
True. All right. Well, here now we are led to the unlimited section, and I'm going to go over what I do not care about. Dark River. It's at 3.
Yeah, I didn't even know it wasn't at 3.
Yeah, me neither. Awesome. I get to play Vayu Turbo in fucking 2026. Thank you. Zodiac Trident. I also don't care about this. They had the one copy already. 3 copies doesn't really change much.
I agree there.
Change of Heart. I get it. Change of Heart, Mind Control, all those cards are like cool and everything. But board breakers have just not felt that good in a very long time. Only specific decks that play board breakers as part of their toolkit are really the only decks that like should be playing board breakers, like, you know, Striker, Radiant Typhoon, etc. And Change of Heart doesn't even assist those decks because they love their quick plays. So, you know, and also Talents is just a better Change of Heart. I'd rather play the 1 of Talents than the 3 of Change of anytime, because Change of Heart is just ineffective in my opinion as a card.
Yeah, I agree. It just targets, and that's just the worst thing. Like, nowadays, your breakers need to not target. So, like, Raigeki, Dark Hole are insane. Cracks a yummy board. But Change of Heart, you target anything, and it just dodges it. So, maybe it's Hecka Hand support. I don't know. That's what I heard.
Oh, I guess. But, like, even this, it only makes Hecka Hand from a tier 7 to a tier 6.5 deck. Like, and that's the same thing with Snatch Steal. So, I'm not even going to entertain that one. Next up, let's see. We already talked about the Vanquish Soul ones. The Black and White Dragon. I mean,
Dragon Link?
Yeah, Dragon Link. But like, Dragon Link didn't need this to get good. Dragon Link needed, you know, a Savage release, right?
Yeah. I don't even think pure Dragon Link would have played 3 and 3 if they could have. I think that would have been too breaky for them.
Probably.
Whatever.
I don't know.
I mean, not a bad hit.
It's like
those cards are
whatever.
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Those cards are whatever. It's cool.
You know, it can be relevant maybe, but I think Dragon decks are not relevant anymore. And if they need a boost in power, let them have it. If it ends up being a mistake, we can cut that again. But like, they were both at 2 last format, and we just didn't see anything. Birch Protocol might change that, but only time can tell.
Yeah, I agree there.
And then lastly, Crystron Inclusion. So, you know, they hit the K9 cards and they allowed Inclusion to come back. I don't think that Crystron is like at the power level that it needs to be though, in order to like, you know, perform well in the format. Like, I get that their end board is strong, but this is actually one of those decks that actually does die to board breakers. So.
I wish I had a better opinion on this. I haven't run the Crystron in a while now, ever since the hit to 1. So fuck that deck. I don't know. I don't think they deserve it. Fuck them. They should have just been on the bottom.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm hating on them.
If Inclusion allows them to have better like grind and better consistency, more power to them. I don't think it changes the thing.
Yeah.
All right. So
you know, we didn't talk about Snatch Steal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's in the same vein of Change of Heart. I'm not talking about that card.
Yeah, no, I'm just playing. Okay.
Yeah, Hecka Hands can have their fucking stealing. I don't care. Okay, and so that does it for the review of the ban list. I'm sure that both of us have repeated a lot of points that other people have, but now we get to your question. You wanted to know what I thought would be the best deck of the next format.
Yeah, because I have no idea. I'm not following the OCG like you are, so I am walking in blind.
So I don't follow the OCG as well, but I do pay attention to Burst Protocol and to feature sets because I want to be better prepared for, like, you know, the upcoming events that I may or may not join, or just like, you know, even if I just play locally, like I want to get to know these cards before the opponent has a chance to like cheat me, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Dracotel is just a crazy deck. As I mentioned in the limited section, Ketu and Malul hits to 1 are irrelevant. The deck, yes, of course, would like to see more copies of Ketu, but it is not mandatory. Fallen of Albaz and the Magistus cards do a lot of work by themselves, and for that reason alone, I do believe that with the added power and the added ceiling, I mean, like, the deck is going to end on what it used to end on, which is like potentially Gulamel. Gulamel's not guaranteed because the Fallen of Albaz locks you into like level 8 dragons, but you know, you're still going to have 3 traps. You're going to have the Fallen and the Virtuous on top of it. You might have like the invoked Synchro Monster to have a like negate, or is it the fusion? I forgot exactly which one, but it's going to be a monster negate. You're going to have a follow-up with the Ecclesia Dragon, and if she is in the graveyard, she can shuffle back an Albaz fusion essentially, and herself, along with sending a card on your opponent's field to the graveyard. I think it has to be face up, but like even if it's not, that's still like just incredible. The Albaz interruption is now easily accessible because you get to have access back to Ecclesia from your graveyard, which gets you into what's it called, Fallen of Albaz, like the true one, to fuse into like the Dogma, which just with Ecclesia in the graveyard becomes like a towers, and it really sucks to try to fight against it. And then if it wasn't worse than what I am talking about already, they have access to floodgates. The deck can summon Christia, Invader of what's it called? Like Christia, but they can also summon a old monster from Invasion of Chaos. That's how old it is. That says the opponent cannot activate quick play spells.
Yeah, this just feels really unnecessary. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Invader of Darkness. Not only is it a big ass beat stick, it is 25 defense, 29 attack, but again, your opponent cannot activate quick play spell cards. Like the only way to out this card is like maybe with Sheena, but like they have to play into the monster effect interruption to return all the monsters onto the field. And if they don't, then the Invader of Darkness just stays on the field, and there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it as a Radiant Typhoon player, because you cannot beat over it, you cannot droplet it, you cannot crown it, nothing. Like you, once that is on the field, if you have no outs to it, you're cooked. Aside from that, Vanquishal getting its consistency back means that is like poised to be like second or third best deck. I think that is actually pretty nice.
I'd agree. I think it probably would be the second best deck, just because of the, I don't want to say its advantage into Dracotail, but because of its more optimal place in Dracotail. And honestly, those Vanquishal cards are not to be underestimated. Those cards are pretty strong.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Now, a lot of people are saying that like Yummy Tri-Brigade might be up there. I am not a believer until I see it. I don't doubt that it would be strong, but I think that like at least number 3 is gonna be Radiant Typhoon.
I think Radiant Typhoon.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I agree. No, go ahead.
Okay, I'll begin really quick. So, Radiant Typhoon was already in a good position before the ban list because like it kind of shits on any Yummy variant, right? Like the board breaking aspect is pretty good. It did have a tougher time against the Mitsu Yummy variant because there's Omni Negates that can stop it, but like now that's not a problem. So anyone playing Yummy gets shafted by Radiant Typhoon, and with Vanquishal being in the mix as well, that deck is also susceptible to board breakers, and this is something that the deck can take advantage of in order to beat them. The only real like hard matchup is Dracotail, but like MST and all that can put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points there. I probably put Radiant Typhoon as number 2, number 3. Honestly, I think the deck is just a very like splashable engine almost. So I just think it's really strong. I could easily see a version of it being mixed with like Striker or something and put in a lot of work.
A lot of the builds that I'm seeing are playing like the new Hand Trap, and they're playing like either Noble Knight Shield Bearer, or they're playing Extravagance, or like there are multiple versions that are available to play, and it seems that there is not a specific like correct way to do so at the current moment, and so only time can tell whether or not we will be seeing like a fully defined version that everyone is going to take credence to. But like I've seen people have a lot of success with the deck. I do like that the Link Monster gets you access to the trap card without having to work too hard for it. The trap card is able to shuffle back, your quick play spells and draw you a card. And so it's just like trying to maintain advantage over a long period of time before you put the towel in the bucket and say, all right, I have nothing to my name now. Let's go to the next game. However, I will say that is one of its faults. It is like really hard sometimes to kill when you're playing that deck. And so you will go into time often unless you know what you're doing.
Okay. I did not know about the deck, but that's pretty interesting to know.
Yeah. There's so many ways to play this deck too. Like, you could have Tenki. It's not like the best card ever in my opinion, but like it is available for you to play because you do have Beast Warriors in the deck. Like I think the only relevant one is Swen, but Swen is also really good. Yeah, because that adds any Radiant Typhoon spell or trap. Like that gets you access to Vision, access to Chant. Chant can get you access to Eldum. Eldum gets you a monster, which could be Maghala. I mean, this deck is actually just like super fucking assistant. It has access to many good Link monsters. Win is really good because you get to take the opponent's pans. You get to play the Doom Eagle, which like not the most like craziest thing that you could do, but like it is a good rank 3 and you get to interrupt the opponent's graveyard, which is nice. You have access to the Ritual Beast, which can like be a wonderful floodgate. You have OTK options with the Great Fly. You can play There Can Be Only One, albeit There Can Be Only One is kind of weak now if Yummy isn't going to see a lot of play because every other deck in the format is going to be able to play around it, but just an option. Yeah. Oh, and you get to play Dimensional Fissure.
That's pretty sick. I could see that being a really good side deck card for them, actually.
And then it has access to be able to play the Fallen and the Virtuous. And so just how I was talking about like with Ecclesia the Black Dragon, if the card is in the graveyard, you can target a level 8 fusion monster or banished and one card in the field to shuffle both and discard into the deck, right? Which means now you get to play one Albion, one Ecclesia of the Black Dragon, which allows you to shuffle back the Albion so that you can activate the third Fallen in the Virtuous, and the Ecclesia ends up being Interruption because it can, well, not Interruption, but like another board breaker because you can take a card off of the field by recycling your resources, and I think that's just really nice.
I mean, I don't have too much to add. I mean, I already thought the deck is very strong, relatively strong, and it's just gonna get better. Really splashable. One thing I do like about the deck, it feels very customizable. Any quick plays kind of work with it. So like, whether the meta shifts to something like droplets being better or something like the Fall and the Virtuous where a singular pop is better, I think the deck is really good at being able to shift around what it needs to be able to do.
I agree. Only time can tell if this deck is actually going to be top tier. But I think for now, it definitely will be one of the stronger decks that you can play in comparison to like anything else. Is there anything more that I really had to add on the strength of the other decks? Triff is under the assumption that Yummy is still going to be really good, but I am not a believer at the moment.
I think I saw him messing with a 60 card Mitsu tri build, something like that. I thought that was funny. I'm not gonna believe Yummy's very good. I already thought Yummy was a pretty weak deck in this meta before the hits, so like, I think it only gets worse.
We'll see, man. Surely we have the method eventually.
Are we missing any other decks? We've only really talked about 4. It was Draco, K9 Vanquish Soul, and then of course any other K9 variants, Yummy and Radiant Typhoon. Are we missing any other deck that could be a 5th placer in there?
I'm trying to think, but like the only other deck options we have left is Cool Tune, which they're not getting support into Blazing Dominion or Enya Craft, so I don't see those decks doing very well in the following months. Yeah, no, I can't see it. So I guess I think that's it. That is going to be like a meta where we see a bunch of Radiant Typhoon, a bunch of Vanquish Soul, and a bunch of Dracotail Magistas branded.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there.
All right, well, I guess now we can diverge into what decks we're gonna play potentially for the 3v3, and I want to start with you because I feel like you have your eyes set already on something that you want to try out.
I have no idea actually. I'm just playing Memento right now, and I just started playing Dragular, so I'm not playing anything super seriously. I think for me, I'm gonna have to let the meta develop a little bit up until mid-February, and then I'll have to make my choice from there.
All right. Well, for me, I already mentioned it, but I am going to play Radiant Typhoon. I don't know if it will actually be as powerful as I'm imagining it to be, and I also understand that like if you play this deck, you have to play out of your mind to do well. But I do like these type of decks that require a little bit more thinking, a little bit more skill, and have board breakers in them. I mean, I did the same thing with Mitsurugi when I piloted the pure version. I did the same thing with Fire King when I piloted the pure version. And this here is just calling my name, and I really want to try it out. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, it's a relatively expensive deck now that Crescia is up, so I could always sell it.
Yeah, that's always really true. I think for me, I'm a very bad player, so I'll probably lean towards a more simple deck. I have found that with the heavier combo decks, there's a lot of room to be great. There's also a lot of room to make mistakes along the way. So I'm probably going to lean towards a deck that's a bit more simple, but still relatively strong. Kind of like Dracotail in the current meta.
Okay, well, from here, do you have any final thoughts over what we just went over?
I know we didn't really get to talk about how we feel about the list overall. I don't have any like love or hate with the list. I think it did what I expected to do. It hit the floodgates I was annoyed with and made the stronger decks right now weaker. And I think that's good. That's what a list should do. So I'm like a 6 out of 10 for it.
I would have liked to seen again March Air hit and Zombie Vampire hit and probably Droll Band altogether. But I do think that the list was overall pretty good. It addressed a lot of my concerns, and it brought back a deck that I really love, which is Vanquish Soul. So, I mean, I have to give the list a 8 out of 10, actually. It's just at least a fucking hit White Binder. That's all I wanted. For the most part.
I forgot about the Zombie Master Band we were talking about, and the Saryuja actually. I'm surprised those cards did not get hit. I guess I'll go to 7 to 10 because I did keep my Vanquish Soul cards, and now they're up.
Yes, raisins are a lot of money. Stake Your Souls, they basically tripled in price from the last time. So they were like, I think 5s, and now they are 15s to 20s. If you kept your Croceas, those cards are now $35 each. So
yep, I got those bad. I actually have a Radiant Typhoon core too. Maybe we'll just play Radiant Typhoon, man.
Dude, I'm down. Like, let's have like our third play Radiant Typhoon and just be called like I don't know what the team name could be called. Maybe the Typhooners, or maybe like
the Tygooners.
Tygooners. Oh my god, we need something. Oh man, why isn't it a 2v2 though? Because if it was just me and you, it would be called the Twin Twisters.
So good. We gotta come up with team names later.
Oh, maybe Triple Typhoon Thrust?
Oh, that's actually kind of nasty too.
That one sounds kind of broken.
Dang, maybe I'll just play Radiant Typhoon for the next couple weeks and up until Vegas, and that sounds kind of nice.
Dude, I'm down, especially because like, I'm not gonna lie, I do have the sheets, and I'm gonna get like some extensive, not like paid coaching, but like I'm gonna watch that shit unfold, like truly.
Okay.
Now, while we're still on this Discord call, I'm not going to show this to the audience necessarily, but I do want to show you what I've been seeing with Draco Tell and why this deck is definitely the best in the ban list. Post ban list, I would say. Let's see, what's the best example? Maybe something Pack or Julian Kahn plays. Oh my god. My YouTube's been bugging the fuck out. Okay, well I'll just show you later. But yeah, that is it for today's video, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed us, you know, yap a little bit about the tier list. And any last words, Thahn?
Appreciate you guys watching. If you made it all the way through, if you have any good names for us for our team, put them down in the comments. Let us know. Give us some inspiration.
All right, that has been everything, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
All right. Later, guys.